What's up, everybody? This is Fred Richani of TSC News, September 13th, 2016. Back from my trip from lovely Cleveland, Ohio. I had a hell of a lot of fun covering UFC 203 Miocic versus Overeem, which also included CM Punk's disastrous, although financially successful, UFC debut. If you haven't been to Cleveland before, let me tell you, man, I had some misconceptions about the city, but it is a great sports town right by the Great Lake. Really a whole lot of fun. Good restaurants, nice people. I stayed downtown, so everything was super, super accessible. I really had a whole lot of fun, so thankful for my experience there. Was a lot of fun catching that UFC. Had a lot of interviews that I put up on this channel, so if you're a UFC fan, maybe you want to check out our media scrubs with Donald Cowboy Cerrone, Junior Dos Santos, Cody Garbrandt, the list goes on, as well as footage from the UFC post-fight press conference featuring CM Punk and UFC heavyweight champion Stipe Miocic. But enough of that. I'm here to quickly recap WWE SmackDown, give some quick thoughts on Raw, and then I'm going to be reviewing Pro Evolution Soccer 2017, an extremely popular sports game, not just in the States, but especially in Europe and all around the world. I'm reviewing that for Xbox One, so that'll be taking up a majority of my time throughout the week. You guys can check out that review later this week on youtube.com/TSC Gaming, our gaming channel. But anyway, SmackDown, coming off the heels of Backlash, which had AJ Styles low blow Dean Ambrose, hit the Styles Clash, and capture the WWE World Championship. Yes, in 2016, at age 39, Alan Jones Styles, the former TNA, NWA, and New Japan IWGP champion, can now call himself the WWE World Champion. Holy moly donut shop. Holy doodle squat. I still can't believe it. I sat and I watched that opening promo so wide-eyed because I just wanted to take in the moment, okay? There's a few guys that I never thought would win a world title. And not everybody is at the level of AJ Styles, but I remember a few years back, Christian won the world title. And he was always one of my favorite wrestlers. I used to love watching his matches. And granted, he's nowhere near AJ Styles' level or anything like that. But, you know, he's a guy that worked really hard, was a great wrestler, and we captured that world title. Granted, it was for a very, very brief period. You know what? I DVR'd that SmackDown. I sat and I watched intently. I savored every moment because, man, this is awesome. He's one of my favorites. He's a guy that doesn't have the stereotypical WWE look. I never thought he'd even be in the main events, and he's the world champion. And here, you have the phenomenal AJ Styles, who is the new WWE champion, and he is holding the title that has the lineage dating back to Bruno Sammartino and Buddy Rogers. Ain't no fake belt here. And he beat Dean Ambrose a month before. He beat John Cena. He beat up John Cena. Man, I'm just so happy. We had Heath Slater and Rhino, of all people, win the tag team titles. Wasn't feeling it at first, but it's got a pretty positive fan reaction. So, hey, run with it until the wheels fall off. Becky Lynch, who seems like such a nice person in real life, finally captures the Women's Championship, becoming the first SmackDown Women's Championship. Women's Champion, excuse me. Super, super happy for her, although I think tonight they kind of scripted her like Dean Ambrose, where she talks super duper fast. Outside of that, though, it's a good time to be a fan of the WWE SmackDown brand. Raw, outside of that awesome match that Roman Reigns and Kevin Owens had, which featured Rusev's return, not really feeling what's going on Raw. But SmackDown, I am liking what I am seeing, despite the announced team that features the overabundance of Mauro Ranallo pop culture references and random Japanese MMA and pro wrestling references. Despite David Otunga sounding like he should host Reading Rainbow or something, or Access Hollywood. But at least he's got a nice sounding voice and he speaks clearly. And despite the fact that JBL occasionally goes off the rails and makes a joke, Michael, I'm in Mauro. So yeah, SmackDown, it's becoming a lot more tolerable. in large part due to the fact that it is only 2 hours long. On top of that, you got AJ Styles on top, along with John Cena and Dean Ambrose. Not a bad crew. Not a bad crew at all. And Miz, as far as mic work, has been doing the best mic work of his career. So we kicked things off with AJ Styles bragging about being the face that runs this place, and now the champ that runs this camp. He was interrupted by John Cena, and granted, we just saw John Cena last month, but I don't know about you guys, he seemed noticeably skinnier, which I'm fine with, because frankly, I think a whole lot of muscle mass on a frame that's 40, 41 years old is probably not the best idea, especially if you're on the road, if you're taking bumps, and you've had a history of injuries, whether it be muscle tears or injured neck or torn pec or triceps, whatever. So I don't mind the slimmer, badass Cena. Dean Ambrose came out and interrupted them. They jaw-jacked for a little while. They really dug in deep into each other. John Cena said he wants to take back what's his. AJ gave him the wristband. He said, no. I want that WWE Championship, and I want to tie Ric Flair's record 16 times. Dean Ambrose said, hey, you beat me. I can live with losing. Titles come and go, which I hated that line because that devalues the title immediately. He said, but when you kicked me where the sun don't shine, you made the biggest mistake of your life. He essentially said, the way I lost it pisses me off, and I'm going to make your life a living hell. I'm going to take back my title with interest. And then John Cena interrupted him and made a good point. He said, hey, Dean, you're the one that crotched AJ on the top rope last week or a couple weeks ago, and you're complaining about a nut shot? And then he said, Steve Austin was right. You're not stepping up, you're stepping down. Just digging deep into Dean Ambrose. And by the way, I happen to agree with that John Cena promo. I feel like ever since that Steve Austin podcast and that horrendous Dolph Ziggler feud, something about Dean Ambrose has been missing. It's like he's been wrestling in slow motion or underwater or something. His promos have been a hit or miss. And granted, his character was a hit or miss largely in the last year and a half, maybe even 2 years. But I still felt like there was always those flashes of brilliance. And I'd say at the beginning of his title reign, it started out very promising. Beating Seth Rollins, pinning Roman Reigns, the first couple promos he had with Ziggler. But he has just been all over the place. This whole lunatic fringe deal and him talking so super fast. And I'm going to recap SmackDown because I'm Fred Richani and I'm talking like Dean Ambrose because he's manic. Like, slow down, dude. Slow down. He claimed on the Steve Austin podcast he has some creative license. Well, I don't know, man. I don't know. Well, and actually, in the background, my WWE 2K16 stream just failed, so that's cool. By the way, I just did the new PS4 firmware update, so that doesn't sound encouraging because WWE 2K16 has never crashed for me. Oh well. We'll cue that back up since, unfortunately, I'm not set up with my camera at the moment. But anyway, before I was rudely interrupted by that technical snafu, yeah, I just feel like something's been missing with him. I don't know what it is. I do know that based on some critics' comments and the comments of those who watch and listen to my show, that at times I have a differing opinion, easy for me to say, from other people that are fans of Dean Ambrose. Or not fans of Dean Ambrose. Some people are fans of his and think he's the greatest thing since sliced bread. I wouldn't say that. I think he's pretty damn good. Some people absolutely hate him and think he's terrible. Others like me, we're fans of him, are still fans of him, but are kind of disappointed in what they've been seeing. He's been a little all over the place. I don't know why. I don't know what the deal is with him, but it is what it is. So hopefully he'll step up here because we had a triple threat match set up. Yes, another triple threat match set up. It was Dean Ambrose, John Cena, AJ Styles officially booked for No Mercy, the upcoming SmackDown pay-per-view, which takes place in a few weeks. There are way too many pay-per-views. I'm not going to lie, guys. I was running on some fumes when I came back on Sunday from Cleveland. Fell asleep in and out, in between consciousness, watching Backlash. It wasn't a terrible show or anything. It was just, it was a show, and outside of the main event, it really didn't pique my interest. And even the main event, it was kind of tough to stay awake and to try to keep up with everything. But hey, woe is me. So we have that great match set up for Backlash. I think AJ will eventually retain. But we had the main event set up, which is AJ Styles versus John Cena and Dean Ambrose. But AJ Styles gets to pick a partner of his choosing. He couldn't find a partner. They nearly gave him that jobber from a few weeks ago against Braun Strowman, James Ellsworth, and instead, he got The Miz. They teased James Ellsworth. They gave him The Miz. That was a good deal. And John Cena ended up pinning The Miz in the main event. He celebrated with Ambrose. Ambrose hit the dirty deeds. And it looks like the Dean Ambrose heel turn has commenced. And boy, oh boy, could his character use a refresh. So I'm glad he turned heel. Although I'm still waiting for Dolph Ziggler to turn heel. He confronted Miz after he lost again in a match that he did not deserve, an Intercontinental title match. And Miz said, you know what? I'm going to leave. I don't need to do anything. I want my demands met. I'm not doing things on your terms, Daniel Bryan or Dolph Ziggler. And, of course, Miz ended up wrestling in the main event anyway, and he ended up getting pinned. We had the Usos beat the Hype Bros. Usos have a new look, although they did lose to Heath Slater and Rhino on Sunday, so go figure. American Alpha is still out with the storyline injury. Jack Swagger came out, confronted Baron Corbin, who beat the hell out of Apollo Crews on the outside, and he said he's going to show everybody that you don't know Jack. Get it? You don't know Jack. Ugh. You have a great talent like Apollo Crews, and meanwhile, you're going to do another reboot with Jack Swagger, and you're pushing Baron Corbin over Apollo Crews because Baron Corbin is tall. I don't even mind Baron Corbin, but put him in matches like Braun Strowman, or like Baron Corbin had in NXT, where he would squash jobbers and the fans would count on how long it would take for him to kill these guys. That's entertaining. But having him go up to AJ Styles and say, I don't want to be your partner. I want your title. In the most wooden manner possible. We had Becky Lynch come out for a promo. She said it's ironic that Becky Balboa is in the home of Rocky Balboa in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Crowd cheered. They said, you deserve it. She said, thank you. And then she just kept talking a mile a minute. She was super ecstatic, super happy. I just wish they would let this woman cut a promo as Rebecca Quinn, the real-life person behind Becky Lynch, not this wacky Becky Lynch character. It was almost like the lunatic fringe Becky Lynch. And you know, I'm going to accept any challengers, so come at me, bro. Like, she just was going a mile a minute. Slow down. Stop giving her wacky dialogue. She's a naturally likable person. Let her be more Rebecca Quinn than Becky Lynch. But that's just a suggestion. So then we had a 5-way match, which Alexa Bliss won, covering Nikki Bella to become the number 1 contender for the SmackDown Women's Championship. Actually, I think she covered Nikki Bella. I'll double check that. Did she cover? Who'd she cover here? She pinned. Yeah, she pinned Nikki Bella after Carmella took her out. This match, like the other multi-women matches on SmackDown, was all over the place. It had some good spots. Nikki Bella looked good. People like to diss her wrestling, but she's a damn good pro wrestler. And Alexa Bliss, she was all right. Naomi, she was all right. It was just, there was some miscommunication on these spots. You know, I think Naomi's very athletic. She's got a great look. She's got a great entrance. But for those saying, oh my God, why isn't she women's champion? I mean, look, she could do some cool moves. She's got a great look. She's a naturally likable person, but she's not at the level of Natalya. She's not at the level of Nikki Bella. She's definitely not at the level of Becky Lynch, although most of the women aren't. So, yeah, let's enough of that, Naomi Twitter. Enough of that, all right? As for Alexa Bliss, Hey, she's somebody new. She's got a good look. She's pre-athletic. Hell, she's more athletic than Naomi. She did gymnastics. She's I think she's done bodybuilding or those physique competitions and stuff. I mean, she's got a history of quite a bit of athleticism herself. So her versus Becky Lynch, I think it should be a decent match, and I'm happy that we're actually going to get some one-on-one women's matches on SmackDown as opposed to these convoluted, chaotic multi-women matches that lend themselves to having blown spots. And as far as anything else noteworthy that happened on the show, Heath Slater signed his official SmackDown Live contract, and him and Rhino in an impromptu match beat the Ascension to retain the SmackDown tag titles. And as I mentioned before, Dean Ambrose and John Cena beat AJ Styles and The Miz. Oh, we had Randy Orton, who may or may not be medically cleared to wrestle since he didn't wrestle on Sunday, but he wrestled on the house show on Monday, barely doing anything except taking an RKO. He came out to confront Bray Wyatt. Eric Rowan attacked him from behind, although he avoided the head and he really didn't take any bumps. And he hit an RKO on Eric Rowan because, of course, Eric Rowan's a geek, just like Bray Wyatt, who lost to Kane at Backlash due to a distraction. Ugh. Yeah. This Bray Wyatt guy. I feel like he could be a big star, but if you don't let him beat any stars, he's not going to become a star. And I just don't get what they're doing with Randy Orton, because if he has concussion-like symptoms, what the hell is he doing anything remotely physical? Even if he's down for it, even if he's saying he's fine, you obviously kept him out of the ring for a reason. So if it was not for a concussion, then you better tell us what it is. It better not be for a concussion, because if it is, why is he getting dressed to wrestle? Why is he coming out to the ring? Why is he hitting RKOs? Okay, he's not landing on his head doing the RKO, but he's still doing something physical. This ain't 1998, 1997 when Steve Austin had a broken neck, damn near died, damn near paralyzed, and was still doing physical stuff on TV. It's a different era. Or it's supposed to be a different era. You're supposed to care about wrestler safety a little more. And frankly speaking, with them constantly mocking Daniel Bryan about not being able to wrestle again, with them having Randy Orton get physical when allegedly, reportedly, he may be still having concussion-like symptoms, to me, that is extremely irresponsible. On top of the fact that it was highly irresponsible and just deplorable that they would promote Randy Orton versus Bray Wyatt and not deliver. But hey, I don't book the matches. I don't book the angles. I just analyze them. As for my quick thoughts on Monday Night Raw, thought it was an okay show, but like every 3-hour Raw, this dragged. This seriously dragged. I like the fact that Mick Foley. Jeez, I'm on the wrong show now. I like the fact that Mick Foley addressed the women's title situation head on, did a triple threat match. Dana Brooke, Sasha Banks, Bayley. I would not have put Dana Brooke in this match, but it was essentially Sasha Banks working with Dana Brooke, Bayley working with Dana Brooke. And then when Bayley hit the belly of the Bayley, Sasha Banks rolled her up for the pin. It looked like a double pin to me. It looked like both shoulders were down. But again, announcers didn't call it. I just analyze the matches. I don't book them. Maybe this will play into something next week. Maybe it won't. But regardless, we got a double pin that was considered a pinfall victory for Sasha. And she will take on Charlotte officially now for the Women's Championship at Night of Champions. Clash of Champions, even though it's using the same graphics as Night of Champions. We had Bo Dallas beat some geek. Sami Zayn appeared in the highlight reel, called Chris Jericho Kevin Owens' bitch. He said he couldn't believe a 6-time world champion who he looked up to would lower himself to be Kevin Owens' bitch. Jericho attacked him, hit the code breaker. We're going to have Jericho and Zayn at Clash of Champions. Cesaro beat Sheamus. The best of 7 series is now 3-2 in favor of Sheamus. Alicia Fox versus Nia Jax ended in a no contest when Nia Jax speared Alicia Fox through the barricade. That looked sweet. Gallows and Anderson beat the New Day. I really don't care. Just give the titles to the club. I have a feeling that New Day's going to retain, though. And that's just going to kill the club if that happens. Just going to kill him. Jinder Mahal beat Jack Swagger. And they said backstage, oh, my God. Jack, your Raw contract is expiring. Can you tell about... Can you... Excuse me. Let me take a sip of water. This Jinder Mahal, his performance was so brilliant, he's leaving me out of breath. Nothing like some water with lemon to cure your speechlessness over the amazing performance of Jinder Mahal. And that running knee that he hit, oh my God, shades of Daniel Bryan and Shinsuke Nakamura. If they were as bad as Jinder Mahal. Ugh. Hey, good for the guy. He's got a job. He got a win. I don't care for him. Ugh. We had Epico beat Enzo Amore for the second straight week. One of the most over acts in the company lost to Epico and Primo in 2016. The Shining Stars. And then our main event, we had Kevin Owens beat Roman Reigns to keep Roman Reigns out of his title match with Seth Rollins at Clash of Champions. So instead of it being a triple threat, it will be one-on-one. Owens versus Rollins. Rollins, not going to lie, he hasn't come off as a great babyface. Kevin Owens pretty much buried him backstage, said he's always needed help. He's always backdoored his way in. Said that Triple H likes him more because he delivers. He doesn't need help. He just sealed the deal. Just, man, Seth was buried beneath the face of the earth here. I'm not feeling Seth. Not feeling Seth as a babyface right now. They had their chance when he first came back, but the dude took out Finn Balor. The dude took out Sting. He needed John Cena in the face and broke his nose. I don't know how this guy's a babyface right now. I should also mention that during that great main event, he did come out and attack Kevin Owens. Mick Foley said that's not how it's going to end. He restarted the match, and that's when Kevin Owens eventually beat Roman Reigns. Again, only this time via pinfall when Rusev distracted Reigns, and yeah, Reigns got hit with the pop-up powerbomb. So as far as matches for Clash of Champions goes, we have New Day versus Gallows and Anderson again. Jericho versus Zayn, which should be a hell of a match. Charlotte versus Sasha Banks, which should be an awesome match if these two don't try to kill each other again like SummerSlam with some ridiculously irresponsible spots. And Kevin Owens versus Seth Rollins. And, oh yeah, that's going to be awesome. Although I do got to say, looking at this graphic with Seth Rollins, he's kind of starting to look like the CrossFit version of the Drifter from NXT, which is kind of creepy. So overall, a wild week in WWE. Raw dragged, SmackDown flowed a hell of a lot better. I'm still not feeling the fact that SmackDown is almost essentially mid-card haven, but with Heath Slater and Rhino and Kurt Hawkins coming in, and now Jack Swagger. But I do gotta say, they do have champions and people in the top mix that fans actually like John Cena, like AJ Styles, like Dean Ambrose. They were willing to pull the trigger and turn Dean Ambrose heel, which is smart. They were willing to pull the trigger and give AJ Styles the title, which is very smart. And John Cena came back, I'd say, about the right time. I would have liked him to stay off TV for a little bit longer. But you know what? Since they're doing a triple threat, they can prolong this feud. I'm down with it. And what was interesting to me is that they emphasized the fact that John Cena is now a part-timer. Dean Ambrose in that opening promo also said, you know what, John, you're just a part-timer. You can't keep up anymore, which is pretty funny because he nearly beat AJ Styles in August, and he definitely pinned him in July. But I guess people just have short-term memory in WWE. So, yeah, an interesting week. SmackDown, I'd give a thumbs up. Raw, I'd say a thumbs in the middle with a major thumbs-up main event. So go out of your way to check some of those things out. And, folks, I want to hear from you. What do you think about Raw and SmackDown? What do you think about all these pay-per-views? My God, I don't even mind single-brand pay-per-views, but do them once a month. Alternate like in the old days. I remember back in the day, we got a John Cena match with Eddie Guerrero on SmackDown. That was pay-per-view caliber. It was a parking lot brawl. It was a pretty unique-looking match. We had Chris Benoit versus Shawn Michaels. I think we had Triple H versus Chris Benoit in an Iron Man match. I mean, we had some really good matches on free TV back in the early 2000s of the brand extension era because the brands would alternate pay-per-views. And it would not only keep things fresh, but it would help make your TV shows mean something. Rather than putting on a great Roman Reigns, Kevin Owens match and just blowing right through it and then, okay, we got a pay-per-view and then, okay, we'll book this 500 times more. But again, I want to hear from you. Let me know. Leave a comment below. Tweet us. Facebook us. Do what you got to do. If you enjoyed this update, please like, share, take care, and don't forget to subscribe for more WWE updates.